Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video here on our channel. Have you always wanted to create your own first game, but you don't know where to get started? Well, in this video I will provide you a step-by-step guide on how I was able to make a living with game development, and I will also show you how you can do the same, and all that completely for free in this video. That's why this video might also, it's a little bit longer than my usual videos, because I will really dive in deeper in things you need to pay attention of and all that stuff. But I would like to directly get started and share a little bit more of my own story to make things a little bit more clear. Because everything started around 6 years ago. I always played a lot of games myself there, and at that time it was really annoying. Games had a lot of bugs and got released unfinished. So I thought, well, it can't be so hard to make your own game. Or, well, I later realized that there are quite many traps you can fall into, especially if you're starting completely from scratch without any knowledge in this industry. But that's why I started my company in 2020, and it's also the same reason why I make this video now, to help people to avoid making the same mistakes which I have made back then. Because those mistakes were so drastic that I needed to scrap my complete development over a year process with my first game Meltdown and need to restart completely from scratch. And that is a painful process there I want you to avoid, that you can develop your dream game basically completely without falling into the pits and things I have made wrong back then. But let's talk a little bit more about the mistakes which I have made in the past and how you can avoid them. Back then I made many mistakes. The first crucial point is actually selecting the right engine. Before you start anything, selecting the right engine is the most important decision you can make. Notch once mentioned that everyone who doesn't create their own engine is not a programmer, but to be honest, you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. Tools like Unreal Engine took huge teams years to create. Using such free tools is a huge benefit, especially in the beginning. But which game engine is right there for you? Well, that always depends a little bit on what you want to create there. For most games, I personally would recommend Unreal Engine, especially if you want to create any type of 3D game with stunning visuals. On the other hand, if you want to make games that are accessible via the web, or only want to make a simple 2D mobile game, you should maybe also check out Unity. Both engines come with visual scripting, which makes it easy for developers to get started learning the code and all that stuff from there. Just replicate some tutorials, maybe you get a course or something like that on Udemy as well, and build small things from there to get to know the engine before starting an actual project. Because most things you will delete after a few months anyway, since it will not be optimized or in any way functional. So by doing this you will learn quite a lot there over your way there. But let's come to the second point, planning your game. Now that you have picked your engine and made yourself comfortable with it and know its strengths and maybe also weaknesses, you should make a plan about which game you want to create. But also here I noticed that everyone is chasing to create the next hype game like Minecraft or Fortnite, but here's the truth no one talks about. People think they need to invent some crazy revolutionary game to make it big. But that's not how all this works. Look at Fortnite, for example. It's literally just a shooter mixed with Hunger Games game mode from Minecraft back then, and that's it. Nothing completely new, it's just a smart remix. And you can do exactly the same. Make a list of games you love, what mechanics and vibes and what modes they have, and just start mixing around them. And boom, that's it, you have your game concept. As a game developer, I help people daily to take ideas they already love and turn them into something players can't stop playing. You don't need the next big idea, you just need the right combination. If you've got an idea, I can help you build it. And I hope with this example you see that you just need to be a little creative and mix some existing concepts around. All this can help you find some great ideas. Let's come to the third point, efficient planning and milestones. Now that you have an idea, how should you plan everything out that it goes well? But also here you can do quite a lot of things wrong, because Indie developers either dream too small or aim for the next Red Dead Redemption or GTA, but with only having a student's budget. Most devs fall into two traps. They plan way too little or way too much. You don't need a 100-page game design document written with ChatGPT. What you need is a strategy there to focus on the core mechanics that don't take much time to implement, but have a big impact, like a nice level there, for example, some smooth combat gameplay. It's totally possible to make an open world RPG just with a small team, because this demo will help you to get the funding you need to build up the game over time and scale the team. But instead, everyone is wasting time on tiny features no one needs, burning budget before the core game even works. We always build MVPs or game demos first, test it, validate the idea, and then promote the game demo to get funding and feedback to scale. So maybe let me break this a little bit more down for you. The full game development process can be very dynamic and flexible. New ideas will come up over time anyway, that's normal. However, you should have a clear picture there in mind about how you want your game to work later. What I always recommend is starting small with an MVP, a minimal viable product, or a demo for your game. Include only the core mechanics, just one level maybe, 2 weapons for example, and from my experience a simple game design document of 3 or 5 pages is already sufficient. And maybe also don't write this with ChatGPT. I know it's a cool tool, I know it goes super fast, but you can use such tools for brainstorming. But in the end, you should decide and think about each of the features and think and determine if it makes sense to add them to your game, and also is it easy for you to implement such features. Maybe there are asset packs in the marketplace that already come with other features where it just makes more sense with your limited budget to take those asset packs and features and put them in your game to start at least with something. And of course, once you have this, you can break down the game into milestones and tasks. And I really like to work there with Trello, so I can group all the informations there from the game design documents and create cards and mark them, for example, as done when a feature is implemented. And that is actually also something I do together with our clients completely for free in the very beginning in our strategy meetings or in our strategy session, which you can, by the way, also book over the link in the description, where we will go deeper over your game idea and I will help you step by step to plan out the game and break down the ideas and really see what is possible there to do inside of your budget, basically. As I mentioned, our goal is always to set up a first demo, because with this demo you can then already go out, start the first marketing efforts or searching for investors and publishers. These might be essential points, so you will be able to finish your game and publish it successfully to get a return of investment actually. Our next point is the budgeting and team building. This was one of the next mistakes I have made back then. You will soon realize that you can't do everything yourself. Game development requires skills in many different areas, from 3D modeling, animating, development and many more. And learning all these will take you years. Without that you, saw any penny there. That will not happen because you learn for years. So what you should do is you pick out 2 or 3 skills, like for example 3D modeling, for example, and master that yourself. Because those skills you can then also offer on like freelance platforms like Fiverr, Upwork or freelancer.com to assist others making their own games and all that stuff. And this money you can then easily reinvest in your game to hire developers and a team that can help you with the rest you are not familiar with. But while most of the developers or freelancers you might want to hire definitely cost money, you need to manage your budget wisely. Especially if your budget is limited, don't spend any money on custom 3D models, custom characters, music or voice actors. Really, save your money there for the development part to be able to put together a nice demo there. All such things I have mentioned can easily be found in the Unreal Engine's Fab Marketplace or can be bought cheaply. Or you can also let AI generate music or voiceovers easily. So there's no reason to buy those, especially in the beginning, especially if your budget is limited. Because all those points can be quite expensive. which doesn't make sense in the beginning. But even with the marketplace assets, you need to be careful. Not all of them maybe work well together. Some are more optimized than others, so it always makes sense to do some research there or ask a professional of their opinions, because maybe they already worked with those asset packs already and can share some opinions there. By the way, if you need some guidance there down the road, definitely feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to assist there, and you can find my contacts under this video, so you can easily write me an email or add me on Discord. I'm always happy there to help you plan things out, or also help you with the strategic part behind game development and all that stuff. But let's come to the next point, smart development and hiring. Since you've made an overview now about what you want to create and search for some assets there that can help you to speed up the workflow, those things still need to get put together. I don't want to talk too much about these points here, as every game you might want to create is completely different. However, if you're completely new to development, it might make sense here to hire a professional developer who can put these things together for you in a professional and optimized way. Because back then, with my first game Meltdown, I wanted to do everything myself. Of course, I learned a lot, but in the end, the code was not optimized and completely buggy, so I needed to restart the development all over again, because different random freelancers as well, which I also hired to do different parts of the programming there for me, completely messed up the code. And trust me, this can be a quite painful process. You worked for something, you put in a lot of money and also time in there, you want that it works, but in the end, we needed to restart all over again. And if you have some money available there to invest in your own first game, then definitely do this for this first demo version there of your game, because mastering the programming part there can really take up too much of your own time there, which you can use in better ways, like for the marketing and getting funding and all that stuff, that your game actually have a chance to succeed in the end and bring you a return of investment. So all those points are more important than learning programming for years or like all the other things. But we will talk more about that in the next minutes. All I want to say here is be careful who you work together with and who you hire. Because you have no idea how often I hear, "Ooh, I got scammed by a game developer. Would I have worked directly with you from the beginning?" And it's honestly already getting frustrating, even for me, because I keep stepping in last minute to save projects that have been doomed from the start. And the frustrating thing here is that it's so avoidable, because it's almost always the same mistake clients make there. Clients hiring the cheapest freelancer who didn't even look at their code or didn't even was able to create a real estimate there, because they didn't had a call with the client, they didn't ask the important questions there before like providing any numbers there or something like that. They just throw out random guesses there, and they maybe didn't even have read your stupid ass vague project brief with none of the core infos actually needed there to create an estimate from. And of course then they can just throw out some random estimates and boom, you're locked in and thinking you just found the next Steve Jobs there, making your game for just $100. Honestly, just stop that stupid shit. If you can't afford a reliable developer there, then save your money, or actually you need to go this route that you learn all the steps yourself there. Because especially if this is your first own game and you are not that experienced in this industry, which is not bad at all, but especially then you need to work together with a reliable developer, because you don't want to know how often I actually had a call there with clients and noticed they wanted or needed something completely differently than like what they have written there, what they think they need. Really take the time there to jump on a call there with your developers and explain your game and your vision. And ask the real questions. Check out your developer's background, and actually this one step will save you months of headaches and a bunch of money. Trust me. But let's talk more about the power you have when you have your own first game demo. Because everyone is asking me, how do you actually make a living there from games? And the truth, most of you are just overcomplicating things. Because there is a simple roadmap. You build up a demo, With this demo, you can easily get funding and build up a community because you have something you can show, and then you can easily scale it, and that's it. Build a clean, playable demo, start your devlogs there on YouTube, and let people follow the journey, give feedback, and let them feel involved. And that emotional connection, that's what people get hooked and want to support you, donate, or let them buy your game later. Then take the same demo to investors or publishers, show them that you already have a community, and if the idea is strong and the execution is solid and you may be also already to work together there with a reliable development partner, they will help you fund it and finish it. So stop waiting there for the perfect moment, build something small, show it, talk about it, and that's how you turn your idea into a playable game which actually makes profits. Let me maybe break it a little bit more down for you. However, once your demo is done, what you can do is you can start devlogs on YouTube to build up a community around your game. And this lets your viewers build up a connection to you and the project. So the chances they will later donate or buy your game are way more likely, since their feedback might also got already implemented in the game and they feel like they are a part of your project already. And this demo also can then get used to showcase the idea to investors and publishers so that they also have something to play. Because you don't want to know how often they get contacted from people. I have this idea, I have this concept art. Like everyone nowadays can create concept art with AI. Like there's nothing it takes to create those informations or ideas. The ideas are worthless without an actual demo people can play. Also, people on YouTube and on social media in general, they are already getting way more careful when they see nice trailers. Everyone can create nice trailers. We saw that with games like Paradise or also with the new Mindside. You need to deliver a playable demo that don't needs to be big, but the gameplay loop needs to be fun and good implemented. And as I mentioned, with this showcase you can easily go to investors and publishers, and such connections can really help you to expand the game over time. In the description of the video you will also find a free PDF you can easily download to get some more information about how you can actually get funding there for your game, and also how you can make money out of the game while you develop the game. And I guess all those things really can help you to financialize the development process there over time, that you don't need to have a huge upfront investment or something like that. Another important point we need to talk about is finding a right developer. Regarding the search for the right reliable developer to build your game demo, you need to think long term. Switching developers might just cause issues since everyone has a different programming style. Some work in an organized way and comment code, others don't. So for a new developer, things might get tricky to pick up if you just have a, undocumented code there where like many different people worked on before. And those onboarding times in the end will also cost you money, which you can save if you just have like one or two or like just a core team you work together with over a longer duration of time. And also this decision would be the most important one you can actually do in the whole process. But no worries, I will help you a little bit there to actually find the right people, because you maybe think, what should I do there and where should I pay attention to and which payment models I maybe should use to attract reliable developers there and all that stuff. So the thing is, freelancers are everywhere. On different Discord servers you can easily post a job there in the Unreal Engine forum, for example, or you can look on freelance websites like Fiverr, Upwork and others. However, what you really need there is to find a reliable developer there who will work with you on your project until the end. A developer who might already build a few frameworks that can speed up your development processes, a developer or team that also has a track record and maybe also experience with marketing later on, so your launch will be a success and you can actually get a return of investment there relatively quickly. And also a developer who should be able to think outside the box to solve maybe any issues that might come up efficiently. and he should act as a coach maybe as well, and not just execute your commands to lead the project to success. Because developers that just execute your commands in the beginning, if you have no idea what you do, also will not help you. It will also completely just ruin the project from the beginning. In many scenarios, it really needs a developer or a reliable partner there on your side who actually also give feedback and help you to find the cheapest approach there to get a demo up and running as quickly as possible, that you have something to show, to market, and to get some investment. And after considering these points, it will be hard to find good people. So if you are looking for support, definitely feel free to contact me. Again, I'm always happy there to help, and I'm always happy there to learn more about you and your game ideas. But let's continue. Because you should now also be clear about what you are actually searching for exactly. You can work, for example, together with freelancers. These are individuals maybe working on hundreds of other projects and maybe also have a day job or still go to school. So you can already imagine many distractions that can lead to delayed deadlines and frustration in the long run. On the other hand, you can also work together with studios. These are professionals that take you by the hand and guide you throughout the full process, which is the ideal scenario for beginners, I would say, but they might also be quite expensive in the beginning. So the best selection you can make would be with a small upcoming studio, I would say, which still have affordable pricing, but also takes you by the hand and throughout the process and helps you from the planning all the way to the development, and later maybe also assist with the marketing. And just by the way, I would say Neox Entertainment is exactly such a studio. But another very important thing you need to pay attention to is understanding different payment models. Because let's also talk about how you should pay your developers. I see so many clients and developers doing strange things which are actually stupid when you think about them more deeply. Because you want to hire freelancers for your game development project, then you need to understand these pricing models. The most stupid approach, of course, is rev share. That's just a code word for I have no budget and no plan how to market my game later. So you will never see any money there as a developer working on those games. Because even if you somehow maybe land a successful launch there, who guarantees you will ever see your share? And also, like on the client side, be sure about that the developer will disappear at the time they will get a real offer there with payment. So all in all, the headaches are guaranteed. Now you might think you are super smart and go with milestone payments. Also flawed, because most estimates are just wild guesses from the developers because they did no code review or no call with you maybe to talk about the requirements exactly. And also when the scope changes, which will, because game development is such a dynamic process, already the whole thing will break apart. Devs end up waiting for payments, get unmotivated, or have to look for other projects just to pay their bills, which leads to long delays and yes, more headaches. The alternative, but still not perfect of course, are hourly payments. The developer can work at their pace, implement new ideas and deliver cleaner, more optimized code. But here's the catch, you still can't really plan good with that because the hours the developer maybe spend or not spend are also a little bit unpredictable. So here's what actually works. Block daily or monthly hours with your developer so the developer can be sure to get payments on monthly basis so he don't need to search for other projects, and then plan out real goals there. Get weekly project updates or daily updates as videos, images, and track your time with Clockify, and let the developer focus 200% on your project. And this setup will ensure that the developer only maybe has a handful of clients and can really focus on your project. And you will notice this setup really gives you progress, transparency, and a long-term partner you will definitely need if you want to build out your own game, which can take a few months. But don't worry, I will break down the different models again a little bit more and also want to explain it in detail from the perspective of a developer. Let's start with the rev share method. This for most developers doesn't make sense at all, because if you don't have money to pay developers, you also don't have money to do the marketing for your game later in the end in the right way to generate money. However, you can always find a few developers there who might want to assist there on rev share basis. It's always just a question about the quality of work you can expect and also the reliability of the developers, because those will be gone once they find a job that pays better. Many starters just do that, like to build up their portfolio and all that stuff, so there's nothing bad with it, but be sure they will be gone when they have a job that pays better. So all in all, this will just cause you headaches, and that's for sure. Another alternative would be that you pay the developer by reaching a milestone. This is hard to estimate for most developers, since they might get a lot of requests also from people who maybe in the end don't even have any budget for any mentioned tasks or something like that. So they maybe just provide you with rough estimates just to check if you have the budget. And then often even without checking the actual code or having a meeting with the clients there before to talk about the requirements. And this all will just later lead into issues. And this should be clear as well, because they will most likely estimate too much. That's also not good for you, or too little, so you need to pay again and again and again without seeing any results in the end. I also mentioned earlier that game development is a dynamic process where new ideas will come up frequently. This approach would not be flexible, since you define a scope of work there first, and with new ideas coming up there, they can't get realized, or also milestones or payments, if the developer want to implement them, might get delayed. So developers need to accept more projects at the same time to actually get a consistent cash flow to pay their own bills. And this also can lead into delays and all in all rushed work that will just cause issues in the long run. Then of course you also have the approach that you pay the developer by the hour he works. This of course is always a little bit hard to track, especially if you work together there with international freelancers. You can't sit behind to look over the shoulder, but we will talk about that in a second. From my opinion, this is one of the fairest models, but many people have been scammed here as well already with this approach, since you actually can't estimate so well in the beginning, especially if you're starting with your own first game and never developed before yourself, which tasks should take how long. However, the developer doesn't need to rush their work and has time to dedicate to the project and can create more polished product basically, and can also easily implement your new ideas and changes and all that stuff. And also you can mention your new ideas there so that they can directly get implemented in the right way. And all in all, you have fewer headaches here, I would say, and also fewer paperwork here, since if you work together with a good freelancer, they will just provide you with a detailed report by the end of the month, so you see where hours are spent. And they might also provide you with frequent image and video updates to show you their frequent progress. So you can directly see if everything is going on track and as planned. And all in all, this helps to have more transparency and build a better relationship with your developers. However, this also would not be the way to go from my point of view, because we can further go ahead and improve this method. How we usually work together there with our clients and also developers is that we block monthly amount of hours a developer fully should dedicate there to your project, and then get paid for these packages or for these hours on a monthly basis over a longer duration. Because what you would need there is a reliable developer analyzing your project, talking with you about your vision and ideas, and then breaking down the ideas into monthly milestones that are achievable, into tasks basically in the Trello board, for example, to work out a roadmap. And from there you can then define a monthly amount of hours the developer should fully dedicate to just your project over a longer duration of time, maybe at least for 2 or 3 months, to actually achieve something like a demo there for your game, which you can then use to build up a community and start the marketing. This way the developers can already block their time and don't need to accept 100 other projects at the same time and can really dedicate themselves to your project. However, this also works based on the hourly rate setup I described earlier. But you have meetings at the beginning of each month to discuss the priorities for the upcoming month. You can get images and video updates during the development process frequently, every 2 or 3 days, every time when the developer is working on it, and you can see the progress. Maybe you can also schedule a few calls, especially in the beginning, on a weekly basis, for example, just to catch up and see how everything goes. And this full setup basically will just feel like you're like with ChatGPT creating your own game, because you directly get the feedback and all that stuff. It very flexible approach. And also if you maybe switch your mind and want to implement other features and want to prioritize them because maybe the budget is getting low, just to make sure that the first game demo is up and running, then that's also possible. And also at the end of the month, you can then together review the progress in the call, or also get a Clockify report to see how the hours are spent. And this approach makes it transparent and flexible for the client. Also, developers can block the time there correctly to dedicate to your project, because in the previous approach, the developers never knew how many hours they should block. Some months they might work 60 hours, the other month maybe only 10. No one can plan like this. And again, they need to accept more projects again. And this always lead in delayed deadlines and frustration. We mainly also worked with this setup ourselves, as it really produced the best results, since we can dedicate ourselves to just a handful of projects at the same time and can still polish them more and more over time. Our clients also value exactly this approach there, because in the end, game development will be a journey that can take months, and also need a reliable partner on the development side and also the marketing side. About marketing, we can talk in a more in-depth and separate video maybe as well, because otherwise this would blow up this video too much. Because with this first video, my goal was to show you how you as an indie developer maybe also can build up your first own game, and also bigger projects like maybe a big RPG open world type of thing, how you can build up such things yourself by leveraging asset packs from the marketplace, by hiring maybe the right developers and freelancers. And with the overview or the PDF, I will also link you in the description of the video, you will also see how you can get more money or funding throughout the process, basically, to fund your game and also build bigger projects. Because in the end, what you need first is a game demo, and this really leverages you and help you to get funding and build up a community, which is what matters to investors. But if you need a reliable partner there now, and if you now think that we could be exactly this reliable partner there on your side, I would be very happy to hear from you. We offer both coaching and consulting there as well, but can also assist you with the full cycle game development process, which means we can pick up the project at any point, or assist with the planning, development, and later also with the marketing completely with our team, so you don't need to hire any other unreliable freelancers there. And of course, we can work together with your existing teams and can just help in the areas where you are maybe right now struggling with. But we can also, if needed, and if you want to scale your development teams in your studio, for example, bring in our reliable developers from our team to easily scale your development teams if you have hard deadlines and milestones you need to reach in time. All this is possible there with our flexible approach, and of course also at affordable rates that even indie developers can afford. Over the years, we have worked with Germany's biggest multimedia publishing groups, but also with lots of individuals working on their own first games. Over the last years we have helped over 100 people building and realizing their dream of their own first games, and in my portfolio you can only find a handful of them, otherwise this would be too much. But I'm already looking forward there, hearing from you and also to learn more about your game ideas there. So I hope this video helped you and you now also have a clear roadmap on how to get started. But yeah, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you also want to have a deep dive into how marketing and getting funding can work there for your projects. And I can make a separate video for this as well, and we can maybe create some sort of like a tutorial series here for indie developers to launch their own first game successfully. I can definitely do that. Just let me know that in the comments. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope I was able to help you a little bit there. And yeah, have a nice rest of your day and take care. Bye.